Welcome back! In this set of equations, we're gonna move on to a two-step equations. We call two steps because we have two operations that we need to undo. Let's see which kind of examples we have in here. The first equation is the following: 2x plus 7 equals 15. What are the two operations that we have in here? So we have addition, we adding 7, and we also having a invisible multiplication. If you see 2x is 2 times x, so we have two operations in here. We have learned pandas for order operation. We follow the order operations when we solving numerical expressions. Only numbers, we only calculating. But when we undo, when we need to do the inverse operation, we also gonna do the inverse order operation. Very important to remember. Addition and subtraction, they are always at the same step. Multiplication and division are also in the same step. Right? So we're gonna be undoing backwards. So we're gonna undo everything that is adding and subtracting, and that means the entire terms, could be the constant terms, could be the variable terms, and then we're gonna undo multiplication and division. If you would have even more operations, that is the order you should be undoing. We're gonna undo the term adding 7 by subtracting 7. So let's minus 7 in both sides of my equation. And as we have done it before, minus 7, adding 7, they cancel it out, becomes 0 in this case. Equals. So we have left 2x in one side of my equation and the other side 15 minus 7 makes 8. Remember, we're calculating two sides of my equation, and super important that we have always equals under the equal. Mind that now we start with a two-step equation or two operations, and we end up having only one operation. So adding, done. So now we're gonna tackle the multiplication in here. So multiplying by 2, the inverse operation is dividing by 2. Let's divide both sides by 2. Equals under equal. 2 divided by 2 is 1. That left us with only x, and in the other side of my equation, 8 divided by 2 makes 4. Next equation, we have two terms. We have a constant term, -9, and we have the variable term 3y, or 3 times y. So we're gonna undo the subtraction by adding 9 in both sides of my equation. Adding 9, subtracting 9, cancel it out, equals under equal. We have 3y, or 3 times y, if you want to emphasize. And then the other side, 21 plus 9 makes 30. From two step, we end up in one step, one operation. Let's undo multiplying by 3 by dividing both sides by 3, the inverse operation. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, so 1y, or just y, and 30 divided by 3 makes 10. Next equation. We have two terms, adding 13, and then we have the second 4x term. We're gonna undo the adding 13 by minus 13, both sides of my equation. Adding 13, subtracting 13, cancel it out. We have left 4z in one side of my equation. In the other side, we have 15 minus 13 that left us with 2 units. Let's divide now. Both sides by 4, since we multiply by 4, the inverse operation is divide by 4, dividing by 4, equal sign, 4 divided by 4, cancel it out, we have z. Z equals 2/4. We can divide these and get a decimal number, or you can reduce this fraction and have a fraction as your final answer. So reducing by 2, if you remember, reduce in the right, so we have this notation. Reducing by 2 in here, make it smaller. This is the same as 1/2. 1/2, or a half, or 0.5. Let's move to the next exercise. We have now here -4, or subtracting 4, and then we have the next term that's adding 5 4w. We're gonna undo the addition or subtraction, so we're gonna add 4 in both sides of my equation. Adding 4, subtracting 4 becomes 0, cancel it out. We have left 5w. And in the other side of my equation, we can count 26 plus 4, we get 30. 5w or 5 times w, the inverse operation is going to be dividing by 5. Let's divide both sides by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. We got w left. And in the other side, 30 divided by 5 is 6. And that is my final answer. In the next equation, we also have a variable part, 6a, and we have the constant part. We can even do a constant term in both sides, so you can start picking up that there are more constants than variables in here, and we need to undo. We cannot have that in two different sides of my equation. So we're gonna undo minus 8 by adding 8 in both sides of my equation, equal sign. Adding 8 and subtracting 8, cancel it out. We have 6a left in one side, and in the other side we have 34 added to 8. We're gonna have 42. Now let's undo the multiplication by dividing by 6 in both sides, equal sign. 6 divided by 6 is 1, so we have just a. In the other side, 42 divided by 6 is 7. I hope you understood so far. Now we're gonna move on. It's gonna be slightly different. The next example is slightly different, but it's the same idea. Instead of having a coefficient being multiplying, now our coefficient is a division. But in the same way, we have in here a constant term, only numbers, -4 in one side of my equation, 2 in the other side of the equation. And in here we have the variable part being b divided by 6. So we have two things to undo, the subtraction and the division. Following the order operation or the backwards order of operation, we're gonna look first at the addition and subtraction. So we're gonna undo the subtracting 4 by adding 4 in both sides of my equation. Adding 4 and subtracting 4, cancel it out, and we're gonna have b divided by 6 equals, and in the other side we can count 2 added to 4 makes 6. We're gonna undo the division in the same way we have seen before. If you miss it out, maybe go and check one of our previous videos with one-step equation with multiplication and division. So we're gonna multiply both sides by 6. Doing so, 6 divided by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1, so they cancel it out. We have b left in this side equals, and 6 times 6 is 36. And there you go. Now that we got the first example, maybe we can speed it up in the next one. We have the constant part being added to our variable part. We're gonna undo the addition by subtracting 7 in both sides, or adding a negative number. So we're gonna have the different tiles. If you have positive tiles, now we're gonna have the opposite, the negative tiles. So adding 7 and subtracting 7, they cancel it out. We have c over 4 equals minus 3 tiles, or 3 negative tiles and another 7 negative tiles. We're gonna have 10 negative tiles in here, so minus 10. Let's undo the division by 4 by multiplying by 4. The coefficients here gonna cancel it out. C is minus 40. Next example, we have a constant term only in one side of my equation. The other side of the equation, we have the coefficient, we have the constant part, and we have the coefficient part. We can undo the subtraction first by adding 5 units in both sides of my equation. We always need to do the same thing in both sides. Adding 5, subtracting 5 in one side, cancel it out. Adding 5 to minus 13 the other side, gonna result in minus 8. And in this side of my equation, we have d over 4. Now, let's undo the division by 4 by multiplying by 4. So 4 times 4 times in both sides of my equation. We're gonna cancel it out. We're gonna have d equals, in the other side, 4 times negative 8, gonna be minus 32, and that is my final answer. Remember that repetition is very important, so the examples are quite similar here, but I hope you're getting the idea how it works. Let's continue here. We have 8 units on one side, 22 units in the other side, and on the left hand side we also have the variable part. So the variable part is being added to 8. We're gonna undo the adding 8 by subtracting 8 in both sides. I'm doing on the side because I don't have white space down, but you can also do a vertical method. 8 minus 8, cancel it out. We have in here x over 7 equals 22 minus 8 is 14. In the next step, we're gonna multiply both sides by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. We have only x left. And then in the other side, we need to do a little multiplication. But let's break down. So we can do the multiplication of 7 times 10 added to 7 times 4. So 7 times 10 is 70, and then 7 times 4 is 28. So my final answer is 98. This is a good tip. When you have bigger numbers, we can break them down. Shall we move on for the last exercise? In this one, we're mixing up. We have a little decimal numbers and fractions. We have decimal numbers for our constant terms in both sides, and then we have the variable part that also have a fraction. If there is no sign as 3.5, we have invisible addition in here. This gives already a tip that if you're adding 3.5, we're gonna undo addition subtraction. We're gonna now minus 3.5 in both sides. So minus 3.5 minus 3.5 in both sides. We're gonna get, these are gonna cancel it out. We're gonna get y. We're gonna get y divided by 2 is equals to minus 2.5 and minus 3.5 gonna be minus 6. And we're gonna undo the division, so y divided by 2. That means we're gonna multiply both sides by 2. 2 divided by 2, they cancel it out, and then we have in here y equals negative 12. And that is my final answer. I hope you enjoyed this video and see you in the next one.